Hello everyone, welcome back, or for those of you who are new, welcome. We're doing more Gladiator 2 coverage. The video we released 3 weeks ago on our initial thoughts and opinions of a Gladiator sequel directed by Ridley Scott was quite a success as far as this channel's standards go, and especially with the comment section. There was the most I've ever received on a video, so thank you so much. We're going to show some appreciation to the previous video's comments by reading back what you guys had to say. A comment from Guggy68. Ridley did not lose his mind. He just got a boatload of money to make the sequel. I'm not paying to watch it, and I will wait until it's free somewhere. Good on you. Just looks stupid and forced. I wish greed was something someone like him would be able to control and put his legacy above it, but money talks. Money does talk. And I do believe that Ridley Scott has adopted his role of a producer to a higher importance than what he was earlier in his career, which was an honest, original filmmaker, visionary. It will probably be a box office success if you just look at the first film and its success and what people are the anticipation, whether it's good or bad. People will want to check this film out, the majority. However, don't say that too fast. I'm saying that to myself because this week we just had breaking news coming from Joker 2 or Joker Folie 2, which is a horrible title when you can't even say it right. It has record-breaking drop-off at the box office in its second week. I think there's similarities to Joker and Gladiator, where Joker maybe wasn't as unanimously loved by critics and audiences as Gladiator, but they're both big enough to where there's a lot of eyes on these sequels. However, Joker 2 ended up flopping big time. And it was some of people's most anticipated films, so you thought they were at least going to check it out. People didn't even watch that film. So you never know what's going to happen with Gladiator 2. Okay, we move on to Milton7763, who says, Gladiator 1 was okay, but it felt overrated to me. I like the opening battle scene quite a lot, but after that, the historical inaccuracies and downright dumb things in the story took me out of it. And by the time a Roman emperor steps into the arena to fight a gladiator, I was completely done with it. Okay, so remember that, because we have a reply to this comment by Major Marketing 6552, who says, you speak of history, but the Emperor Commodus did fight gladiators in the arena of Rome. This movie has other inaccuracies, but everyone loved it because it was good. You should self-reflect because it isn't normal to not like it. That's a little much. You don't need to self-reflect because you had a different opinion, or it's not normal to not like it. It's totally fine. But why I liked both of these comments is because they talk about historical accuracy in film. In my opinion, I don't think a film needs to be totally historically accurate. Ridley Scott doesn't have a track record of doing that himself, and I don't usually have a problem with it, because at the end of the day, you're trying to make a 2-hour film that's entertaining, or a movie that's going to entertain people and hopefully reaches a broader audience. So if you look at the first Gladiator film, there was a subplot which they had at one point about olive oil vendors and how they sponsored gladiators. They kept that out of the movie eventually. I don't know if they filmed it or not, but it, as historically accurate as it is, and kind of interesting as trivia, basic trivia, does it suit a movie, an action film, which is a revenge tale? Does it suit the story of Maximus? No. Would most people find it entertaining? Probably not. So my issue won't be whether or not these characters were real or what they did was exact to what we know being true, but rather Are the characters being represented just trying to be some kind of a mirage or an illusion to what we saw in the original film? And this is my issue with Gladiator 2 is I'm seeing it trying to do a lot of callbacks. Even lines are being said for verbatim. What does that tell you? That just means they're going to rely on nostalgia and trying to repeat, and I think to a far lesser degree that the original was able to pull off. Next comment comes from Honest Tibor, who says, like your energy again, thank you. To your question about if the public will fall for it or not, I believe since it's another Hollywood movie with blood and violence, it will do well at the box office. Ultimately, Ridley Scott creates spectacle movies. These mean big productions with spectacular action, and I think that could fool a lot of people into it being a good movie. What I see, again, in the trailers is they're trying to elevate the violence and the stakes of the violence. So they're gonna flood the arena with sharks. And that's cool, that happened. At least I know that they flooded the arena with water, but you're just trying to create grislier and more obtuse violence. Same with the rhino, right? In the first movie, there's that great sequence of Maximus fighting the other gladiator with tigers surrounding them. And now they're gonna, elevate that solo match, or that duel, I should say, with a rhino. So just bigger, more brutal, and it's just relying on elevating the spectacle of the violence as opposed to the purpose and the meaning of the story, which in total honesty, my main issue and why I want to speak up about this so much and have such a strong opinion is solely based on the story. Okay, next comment is from Heidi Rabbit 8393, who says, welcome to the mindscape of a Gen Xer. We would say he sold out. They're referring to Ridley Scott. Now switch out apathy for rage and we'll welcome you with open arms and nirvana. I love that comment. I do sometimes feel more accepted from that generation, just in the sense of, he sold out. Ridley Scott, especially carrying this poor attitude, self-conceited attitude of almost he could do no wrong and everything he's going to put out is the best. We could say time and time again in the last 10, 15 years, it's been fairly disappointing. I think that's safe to say across the board. What I find really irritating with today's generation, people are getting more and more sensitive, and it's wrong to have a mean, I'm not saying be mean-spirited, but to have a negative opinion, and that I can't be passionate about that. It's just, if I'm passionate, then that means I'm angry myself, and I don't think I'm overdoing it or being too defensive of anything. I just simply have an opinion, and I'm willing to share it, and I'm willing to have the discussion. What you're gonna see next in the last comment of today is from Birkinson2246 says, who do you think you are saying fool or guy to one of the world's best directors? Let's address this because it's a long comment. He's referring to my previous video about Gladiator 2. The thumbnail, I alluded that Ridley Scott is perhaps a fool for making a Gladiator sequel. And at some point in the video, I referred to Ridley Scott as Guy as opposed to Sir. And I even made fun of it, but dude, it's okay. Why are you so offended? Ridley Scott is not untouchable. It's meant to be kind of absurd in a joking way. And of course, thumbnails, titles, things like that can be baity sometimes. And it's okay, it's not a big deal. Who am I to say that? I can say whatever I want. And to this degree, it's totally fine what I say. I have my days where I say, you know what? I love Blade Runner so much. I love Gladiator so much. And if I look at Ridley Scott and those original films he's given us, he perhaps, and how influential he is, he perhaps belongs on the Mount Rushmore of great film directors. And he's certainly established his place amongst the best. Absolutely. The man is 86 years old. The man is 86 years old and making all these movies. You should be thankful for that. I am thankful. Martian, Last Duel was great movies. Even Prometheus or Alien Covenant was not bad at all. At all. Okay? Like, it's very easy to say. Tell me specifics. Like, tell me why not. Have a conversation. But you're not doing that. You're just saying very generic things. Every director has a couple of better movies in their careers. All his movies don't have to be like the first Gladiator or Alien or Blade Runner. Robert Zemeckis has never managed to make a movie like Back to the Future, but made good movies. I like this point. It's a great example. Robert Zemeckis made great films. Some of my favorites of his are Castaway. I love Forrest Gump. Back to the Future, though, the reason this is a great point is because Back to the Future can be considered a perfect film. Quentin Tarantino talked about this, how if you look at a movie and what it should address, what boxes it should tick, I believe is how he refers to it, as far as pacing, as far as the emotional roller coasters it could take you on, and not just being, strict to one thing, but it could be comedic, it could be dramatic, it could be horror. Back to the Future, in that regard, ticks all the boxes. And as far as a movie-going experience, it's a perfect movie-going experience, and I agree with that. Jaws is like that for me much more. I elevate to Jaws a lot more, but I could see that being Back to the Future. However, Gladiator, I think what they achieved with the story, how it resonated, how fulfilling it was, Maximus's story in that contained film, I think was perfect. I don't think it's a perfect film by any means. I think it is a little more specific or contained as to what it is. But that being said, it does check off a lot of those boxes as far as a movie-going experience. This does lean into my point of, okay, why are you trying to replicate that? They're really reaching with the story they're going to tell. Okay, and he continues by saying, I hate people like you who think they are movie experts. Ridley Scott has backed that fuck you words up with, you can fuck yourself, by the way. You might as well be just doing this to the keyboard, because that's all I'm getting. It just seems like you're upset much more than me. I just have an opinion, and you're very harshly and uneloquently trying to make a point. I thought the Robert Zemeckis thing is interesting. I never claim to be a movie expert. I'm just here, shooting my shot at giving an opinion and having a discussion, which a lot of people are scared to do. Do I think I've watched more movies than the average person? Absolutely. Have I actually seeked an occupation I'm not talking about this. Have I actually been on set and worked on set? Yes, I have. So, but I don't make that my point. I don't come off, even though I'm saying it now, it's not how I validate myself on this channel. I'm just a fan who loves movies, and I talk about them, and I have opinions. And just going back to the previous comment on it's a different generation. Why is everyone so quick to get so offended when things rub them the wrong way slightly, or they go against the grain, or just going against how you feel? You don't really, in this long comment, you don't really manage to talk specific, or you're making broad assumptions and opinions without actually giving, some reasoning. And when you don't have that, you're coming off very upset, and it's okay. It's gonna be okay. This movie, whether it comes out, whether I'm wrong and critics and audiences love it, it's all fine, and there's nothing to get too flustered about. And we're gonna keep this going. So I appreciate your comment. I love all of you, because at the end of the day, I do just want a discussion, and I'm open to, and even comments like this, because something can come out of it. And so on that, we finish. And if you enjoyed this format of when we look back on comments, then keep it going, please, because I need more of this. This was the first time a video was abundant with comments, and it was actually worth going back and looking at and readdressing. So thank you. And let me know if your opinions have changed or evolved since that last trailer came out. And otherwise, if you enjoyed and want to know what's coming up in the future, then obviously hit the subscribe button. You know where it is. And otherwise, thank you very much. Hope you have a great day.